Hello and welcome. It is 9:30. It is the 7th day of December 2021. It is 58 degrees and hazy. Apparently it rained over the night here in Ventura, California for at least 5 minutes. We have a cold, biting, wintry day here because that's your news, and I am your tabletop role-playing guide to all the news, weather, sports, conspiracies, and general nonsense that affects our hobby, the OGGM, and it is day 7 of Vlogmas. Vlogmas, yay! It is also day 7 of the Yogcast Jingle Jam. So if you want to check that out, head on over to yogcast.twitch.com and donate to one of the many amazing charities you get. For $50, you get $800 worth of downloads of video games and you support a charity. Or if you want to keep it close to home, consider supporting my token charity, Team Primetime, here in California. Or you could just support me by subscribing and helping me hit 1,000 subs by January 1st, 2022. And one of the things we do during Vlogmas is we try and vlog every day, and we try and answer some questions or talk about some aspect of the holiday or our hobby. So today we have some questions, and the question is, of course, craziest in-game experience. What is your craziest in-game experience? And we know my craziest in-game experience is Rodger than the Fireball. I've told that story hundreds of times, and I'm sure I'll tell it more. You know, I've also told the story about young Ked, who was 22 years old but still liked to dance. I've even told the story about me and Julie and the cow. So I have to go way back. What is the craziest story that's happened to me in-game that I've never told, or at least haven't told in a really long time? I was like, well, it's got to be the time that guy jumped on the table. That was pretty crazy and unexpected and sort of like, wow, what, just see. So we're going way back to the early 2000s or late 90s. I'm still living in Studio City, California. I'm gaming with a group of people, and it's the early days of the Forge/Solomon bullshit, and it's all about, playing in character and getting into character and physically acting out what your character's doing. And, if you're, trying to just get into that mental, emotional mindset of your character to the point where, the separation between fantasy and reality kind of got a little vague at times, which is why I am so against all that Forge elitist style of playing in characters. Nothing wrong with playing in character, but sometimes the playing in character can lead to problems. So we're playing this game, and we're in a situation. I can't remember what it was, but obviously it was some type of fight. There's like 4 or 5 of us around the table. Got the DM over there. He's describing the scene. This guy liked to use music to get you, hyped up. So in battle scenes, he'd play Duel of the Fates or the Conan music or Tubular Bells or the music from Last of the Mohicans to really get you excited. So it's this really gripping battle. We're being bombarded by like rat men, I believe. So, half human, half rat. We're in a cave. I'm running a barbarian, which is rare for me, even though it wasn't D&D. So there really were no classes, but the way the character was described to me, I made him very much, a barbarian screaming out to Odin and, wanting to die. And there's another guy sitting next to me. And then there's the guy at the end of the table who's opposite the DM. And then there's the people on the opposite side of us. So, square table, DM, one guy, the opposite of DM, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. And we're all, just really getting into this fight because we know one wrong dice roll and we're, dead. We're in a cave. We're overwhelmed by these rat men, kobolds, whatever they were, worshippers of some giant rat god. And we're just like, we're going to die. This is impossible situation, and we're rolling dice, and I'm really lucky. I'm rolling like 20 after 20. I'm like, there's no fucking way. And there's like another 20. I'm like, this is the best I've ever been. And we're all yelling and screaming and getting into it and like just like, Odin, and like just really It's late at night and we're pumped up on caffeine and we're all just like jumping up and down, and it's really cold when we were playing. So that added to just that we needed to move to keep going. So we're yelling and screaming. And remember, this is a gaming table. So in addition to dice and character sheets, there's figures, there's sodas, there's food, there's all the things you would find on a gaming table. And not everybody, I like to keep my stuff very compact. So like, I don't usually keep my snacks on the gaming table if I'm at a gaming table, because I know they have a tendency to knock over. So I'll keep them someplace else. And if I want to get the snack, I'll get up and walk over and then come back because I don't want to distract from the play. So I'm very OCD, and I like all my stuff in my little box, and I don't like my dice to be over here. And I like everything where I can see it and control it, and it doesn't affect the table or anybody else. But not everybody. In fact, most people don't think like that. So this is a table with figures and dice and character sheets. And we've got a DM screen, and we've got some sodas and a cup of coffee. And remember, that cup of coffee is important because it's going to come into the story in a couple seconds. So we're yelling, we're screaming, we're excited. This guy at the end of the table, who's opposite the DM, has had a really bad luck run with his character. I mean, his dice rolls have just really sucked, and you can just see how upset he's getting, how angry he's getting, how close his character is to death. Like the next blow is going to kill his character, and he's standing up. He's red in the face. He's angry. He's upset that his character is going to die. He's angry at his dice for rolling so badly. He's upset at the situation because he feels it's unfair that the DM is doing this to us. And he kind of sort of feels the DM's picking on him. So he's getting very antagonistic with the DM. It's like, why do you keep attacking me? Why do you attack that guy or that guy? And it's like, so he's very excited. He's very, standing up, rolling dice. He's yelling what he's going to do. I swing, blah, 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 I swing my sword. And he rolls the dice, and he's like, and as the dice rolls, he's yelling how he's going to jump up, come down, and swing right on top of the big rat's head. And your brain kind of slows down this moment. And I can't remember a lot about the situation, but this I remember. I can almost see it in slow motion. It's weird, how your brain compartmentalize, your brain separates facts. So I can almost see the dice as like it's 10 times its size, and I can almost see him as I'm sitting at the table getting all excited about my character, and we're all going, yeah, go dude, and you can like hear the dice in like over exaggerated sound, ka-tonk, ka-tonk, ka-tonk. And at the same time as you're looking at the table, you see him, the player, leap in the air because he's trying to act out what his character was doing. So he's like, ah, and the dice is going ka-tonk, 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 bam, 20. Everybody's like, yeah. He's in the air going, yeah. And he comes down on his edge of the table. Now, to this day, I do not know how this individual got so much airtime. We're talking Michael Jordan level of airtime. And he wasn't a big guy. I mean, he was kind of a short, sort of chubby, muscular guy. Think like 5'4" linebacker build. And somehow he manages to get his body up in the air, come down, land on the table. Land on the table. As the dice is rolling the 20, everybody's yelling and screaming. Suddenly, 180, 200 pounds of human being lands on the table. Remember the cup of coffee? And remember the sodas? Bam! Everything on the table goes flying. All the sodas get knocked over. The cup of coffee gets knocked over. Pours into the guy's lap. He's screaming as the coffee hits him in the face. And the guy who jumped up lands, and like soda flies in his face. The hot coffee pours over, and everybody's character sheets are getting hit with hot coffee as it's spraying in the DM's face. Soda's running all over the place. We're all jumping back. We're all yelling obscenities. Like, God damn it, dude. The table is like starting to bend. Dice are flying everywhere. It's almost comical when you think of it. You can just see the dice flying in there. You can see the sodas getting knocked over. You can see the coffee getting knocked over, splashing in the DM's face, splashing all over the DM's notes. You can see the soda flying into the guy's face. You can see the table starting to tip over from his weight, and we're all getting up in all our character sheets. I mean, dice are going everywhere. Figures are going everywhere. Soda's getting, it's just a fucking mess. So the next 5-10 minutes is spent cleaning up the mess, finding towels to dry up the soda, trying to, find all the dice that went flying, trying to make sure the guy who got hit in the face with the coffee is okay. All his notes are covered with coffee. We're trying to get everything off the table and to some place where we can dry them out, For some reason, there's a hair dryer. So, the first thing we think of is just, hair dryer. Because this guy's notes for his game are all handwritten. And this was before, we could do this comptometer thing. So, he didn't have backups. Finally, after 10, 15 minutes, obviously the game is just ruined. Some of us are laughing. Some of us are just fucking pissed at the guy. The DM is just so, he's like, yeah, I'm going to give you so much extra experience points because you get into it and you did something that was just impossible. And I just never thought I would see this. But then also you jumped on the table and ruined all this shit. And I've got 1st degree burns. I'm going to probably have to go to the hospital. So eventually the mess is cleaned. What we can salvage is salvaged. All the dice that we can find are returned to their owners. Everything is We're drying off the guy's notes with the hair dryer. We're all volunteering to, rewrite it and, try and fix the mess. And he's like, no, I want to remember this day forever. And I want him to remember this day forever. So I'm going to keep these with the coffee stains. Yeah, I'm going to have to rewrite them, but I'm going to keep these so we can remember how excited he got. And he's going to keep the character with stains and everything. So he always remembers this moment and just how he got so into this. Now, as long as that character remains alive, there's going to be just shit storm of stuff following him around because, yeah, he fucked up our game. He ruined everything, but also, just that natural 20 and how excited he got into it. And just, wow, that character's both blessed and cursed. And dude, just the fact that you did this, you're just both amazing and utterly stupid. So for the next year and a half that we still tried to keep that group together, though more and more people were getting upset because of the whole Solomon Forge elitist shit that whole game brought about. And that style of six, he kept the sheets and all the notes with the coffee stains to constantly remind him and everybody else that this moment happened. And he forced that player to keep the character, with all the stains on it. Yeah, he could rewrite it. And as long as he kept that character, he would get bonuses to the dice because, that moment was forever ingrained. But he also constantly rubbed it in the guy's face. So every time he showed up, the guy would make the guy who jumped up, the DM would make the guy feel both really, really good, but then he'd start digging in with the insults. And this is another reason why I hate that style of play and that whole thing that came out of that moment in gaming and the whole elitism, the whole 1%, the whole my way is better than your way, the whole intense play and character role playing. That whole Solomon Forge bullshit is even when he sounded like he was complimenting him, he would always bring it up. He would always make him play the character sheet with the stains on it. He would always remind him of that moment, but it was always in such a way that even though it sounded like he was complimenting him, he was actually grinding it in to make that guy feel worse and worse. So every time he played, he tried to beat that expectation, and he tried to be more over the top and be more role-playing and be more epic with his characters. But of course, it was just a self-fulfilling prophecy of doom, because the more excited and invested and angry he got, the more he eventually just drove his character down and placed himself in chaotic, stupid situations and got his characters killed. And it was just, the moment can never be repeated. Just the dice rolling, the jumping up. I'll still to this day do not know how he was able to get his body on the table. There was laughter, there was tears. Should he have jumped on the table? No. Should that situation have happened? Probably not. Should the DM have prodded him as much as he did? Was the DM picking on him? Hindsight being 2020, yeah, I think he was. I think he was trying to incite a response from all of us, but especially this guy for some reason, probably because it was directly opposite him. And was the DM punishing him for almost an entire year for that moment? Definitely. But is it just an amazing, crazy in-game experience if you take away all the other shit? Hell yeah! It's a once in a million. When is that ever going to happen again? That perfect moment of just so many bad choices, of the coffee and the sodas on the table, and the guy at the last point of his, can I keep this character alive? And I'm just going to all or nothing, and I'm going to jump in the air and bring my sword down on the big bad, and bam, natural 20. And he's like just so excited, he leaps in the air and lands on the table. That's just amazing. That's just amazing, and also just awful. And this is just the kind of experience can never happen. It shouldn't probably happen. But that it did happen is just amazing and hilarious and tragic and wonderful and stupid. And just a small slice of both the best and worst aspects of this hobby and of that time, and what came out of that whole forge playing character to the point of loss bullshit mentality. Anyways, that's my Vlogmas most crazy in-game experience story for the day. I appreciate that you put up with me talking about this for almost 20 minutes. If you want to hear more stuff like this, consider subscribing, hit that thumbs up button, share this video, support me through the various ways you can support me, or support Team Primetime for the holidays, and above all, have a great day. Stay safe, stay sane. Do not jump on the table at your game, and have a good day. Happy holidays. Stuff. Words that I'm not very good at, obviously. See ya!